Good morning. Thank you for joining. We're going to give it about 1 more minute to let people join before we begin the session. Good morning, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us on this beautiful Monday. My name is Ayla, and I am a member of the Union Realty team, part of the Wright Sisters and DeClute Real Estate, and I will be your host for today's event. We are so thrilled to have you all with us to celebrate International Women's Day, with this year's theme being Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World. Before we get started, I wanted to cover off a few housekeeping items and how today's virtual event will actually work. All attendees will be muted automatically upon joining the event to minimize any disruptions. That being said, this is an interactive session and we would love to hear from all of you. You will see there is a Q&A button towards the bottom right-hand side of your screen. You can submit all your burning questions for our moderators and panelists within that box, and they will be happy to answer closer to the end of the session. Please do feel free to celebrate and show your support for International Women's Day by snapping photos and sharing them to your social media accounts. The hashtags for this year's International Women's Day will be shared on the screen throughout the presentation. And don't forget to also tag our speakers who have generously given us their time today. Now that the housekeeping is covered, I am happy to introduce today's moderator, Shirley Border. As Senior Manager, Executive Vice President for the Coach Ken Goodfellow brand, Ms. Porter relies on extensive brokerage operations, sales, and management experience through her 30+ years in real estate, both in Canada and the US. Former positions with Royal LePage and Remax corporate offices, as well as brokerage experience with Realology brand in the US, uniquely position Ms. Porter as a strategic coach to team managers and sales associates across North America. We are so grateful to have Shirley moderate our panel today. Welcome, Shirley.
Thank you, Ayla, for that very kind introduction. I certainly appreciate it. Well, as Ayla pointed out, it's a global day of celebration, a celebration of women and their accomplishments, and also the opportunity to bring a heightened awareness to women's issues such as gender equality. You know, I'm very proud to have the opportunity today to work with some amazing women and very accomplished women in our real estate industry. Our panel exudes leadership. Leadership that's passionate, leadership that's skilled, leadership that's filled with integrity and kindness. Our panelists today will share their experiences with their colleagues, their competitors, and other women around the world. So, shall we get started? I'm going to introduce our first panelist. So let's start with Rochelle De Clute. I'm going to read this one here. Rochelle has been nominated 3 times for the RBC Canadian Women's Entrepreneurial Award, and she's a frequent speaker and the recipient of numerous sales awards in her life here. Rochelle has been quoted dozens of times in respected publications, including the National Post, the Globe and Mail, RAM, and Toronto Life. An industry leader who delivers. Rochelle literally grew up in the business. And many of you might not know this, but her grandmother was said to be the first female broker in Toronto. After pursuing an early career in negotiation and living in Western Canada, Rochelle returned to her home in Toronto over 20 years ago to work in what had become the family business for 3 generations. Among her many accomplishments, Rochelle and her brother Rick established an independent brokerage in 2011. Rochelle and Rick spearheaded a merger and acquisition with their biggest competitor to form a collaborative, teams-based brokerage. She is passionate about empowering those around her to succeed, generously offering her time and expertise at events and leading industry discussions. Rochelle is a skilled strategist, successful CEO, and is active in several community initiatives, most recently having held a position as a campaign cabinet for Michael Garron Hospital. Welcome, Rochelle.
Thank you. That's a great introduction. Thank you.
Rochelle, you're so busy and so active in so many things. What prompted you to put this on today, to do this event?
I think it's important to honor women and honor women in our industry. It's important that we lift each other up and support each other. I'm so honored to sit on a panel with all of you. You're all women that I look up to. And I love the hashtag, choose to challenge. I think we have to challenge each other to support each other and lift each other up.
Oh, it's perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. Okay, our other panelist, the second one, is Michelle Fraser. Michelle is the CEO of the Michelle Fraser team. Michelle is one of Durham's highest performing teams. More than 20 years experience has made her an expert in everything from market behavior to staging to negotiating. An astute businesswoman who excels at showing value with above average results. Michelle has long been a champion of diversity and inclusion. She is committed to advocating for women in the real estate industry. She is a powerful voice and a sought-after speaker. Michelle is committed to educating and leading other industry professionals in all aspects of successful real estate. Her growing up on a farm in her native Trinidad and assisting her dad with running his multiple businesses since she was 12 years old has really helped her to be consistent as a top 100 agent across Canada for RE/MAX. So Michelle, welcome. Great to have you here.
Oh,
we got to unmute you.
There we go.
There we go.
Hi.
All right. Hi, Michelle.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Great. Why are you participating today?
I'm participating to just to be a part of the inclusion and to be part of inclusion and diversity. And I'm honored to be here to represent women of color and speak about that.
Wonderful. And welcome. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, our next panelist, so happy to introduce, is Cailey Heaps, who is the CEO of the Heaps Estron team. Cailey is a seasoned CEO with a property professional with over 20 years experience in residential real estate across the central Toronto core. After graduating with a bachelor, majoring in marketing, complemented by a minor in human psychology, Cailey started her career in advertising, but decided to join her mother, Heather Heaps, in the early 1990s in real estate, and has since become the leader of the Heaps Estron team. Having come from a dynamic and entrepreneurial family, Cailey quickly became a top producer and has since gained significant market status to become the leader on the top real estate team in central Toronto. The key to her success revolves around her commitment to the client experience and achieving sales results to match. Cailey is consistently recognized for a strong work ethic, down-to-earth nature, straightforward approach. She and her team enjoy working closely with their clients and forming lifelong friendships along the way. Not only is she a trailblazer in her industry, she is also known for her pricing expertise, marketing strategy, and negotiation skills. A keen speaker at international conferences and one of the most respected voices in the Toronto property market, Cailey is passionate about exploring new and innovative ways to improve the real estate industry. Welcome, Cailey.
Thank you, Shirley. It's nice to be here.
It's great to have you. So you mentioned here that, you're exploring new and great ideas on how to improve the real estate industry. What do you think needs to be improved right now?
I think with it's perhaps not unique to real estate, but with any industry, I think that it's so important that we have collaboration and that we support each other. Real estate at times can be a ruthless industry. And I think that there's so much to be gained from working to create positive outcomes and positive relationships. It doesn't have to be adversarial to get a deal done. So I think just maintaining that mindset of you can get a lot further in life with treating people the way you'd like to be treated.
Beautiful. And if that happened, that would just make our industry so much better, so much better. I'm going to go to Rochelle now. I'm going to ask Rochelle, you've been in this business. I saw this where you've come in, you worked with your brother, you've built an amazing business. Did you ever feel like giving up?
Oh gosh, yeah. So of course, and sometimes every day, but I think that's part of it. We all get tired, and we all I think get exhausted. I think women more so, because often the responsibilities at home fall on us, and the responsibilities for elderly relatives or children. I think we can be really caught in that. And running a business at the same time can be a lot. So I definitely have been to that point where I felt like giving up, for sure. And I think I'd be hard pressed to find someone who hasn't felt that way. But I think you have to just kind of find your passion. It's all about mindset.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's so true. Yeah, it's all up here, isn't it? All up here. Michelle, I'm moving over to you. Okay, you run a team, but you also work with your spouse. What is that like in business?
Wow, that's a loaded question. You know what? It's really tough seeing your spouse and working with them every day. It's quite a challenge, but what I've come out of it is it's made me grow to be very resilient and learn to forgive, and just come from a position always of understanding. So at the end of the day, what we try to do is not stay mad at each other, move on. And he really balances me out. And because I'm such a strong woman leader, I have to take time to acknowledge him and always, realize that, he is the reason why I am where I am today. So I really want to acknowledge that. So behind every great man is a great woman.
That's great. And it applies even if you're not working with your spouse. We still have spouses that are there, and we make sure that the medicine of our careers are very different.
Yeah.
Cailey, let me ask you. You said you had a career in advertising. You took marketing. You did all of that. Like changing over to real estate, what was the big aha that you got when you changed over?
So I'd worked in the beer industry before advertising, which is my family business, my father's business. And then I worked in advertising. I don't know that there was an aha moment. I remember saying to my mom when she was in real estate, I would never do your job. Why would anyone choose to work nights and weekends? It seems crazy to me. And she didn't ask often, but every now and then she would say, well, I think you'd be really good at it. Why don't you just give it a shot? Why don't you try it? So I don't know that there was an aha moment, but once I got there, the aha moment was it's a job I love. I love the people. I get energy from being around other people. It feels like such an honor to be part of such a major transaction in people's lives. So I think the aha moment was landing in the industry as opposed to my route to get there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Rochelle, balance. This is something we all talk about because, we're hearing it here that, getting the balance right with your personal life and work. How do you accomplish that?
So I don't know that there is a balance. I think it's important to be able to integrate everything, for me, to integrate everything together. So work and home life are very much integrated. And I guess it helps, having grown up in a real estate family, that's always been our dinner time conversation, much like Cailey's. We've talked about that many times. My kids know it. My grandmother, of course, made sure we all knew it, and my dad and stepmom. So I think, in real estate, that's a great thing. You can easily integrate work and home life together. I've had many years of coaching with Ken Goodfellow to really help me succeed in that realm. That was a goal of mine early on. I feel that I get a lot of time off work, a lot of time with my family. And so I don't know that you ever have a balance, but I think integration is important. And it's really important to be able to enjoy the benefits of this business where we are working nights and weekends, and I don't even think of it as work. You know, I love what I do. I'm still passionate about it, and it gives me energy. So I just make sure I take energy for both.
I think what you're saying there, the word balance is not correct. The
No.
integration is that word is so much more powerful. And
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's great. Michelle, you built a very successful team. Is it different? What is different with a female leader building a team?
It's different because you have to do more. You always have to be the voice of understanding, because as a woman, you're just naturally looked upon as you're supposed to be more caring and more nurturing. And I think for me, that comes with finding the right balance of being a strong person and a strong woman leader. And I remember as a little girl, looking at Margaret Thatcher being the first prime minister, female prime minister. And as a little girl, they used to call her the Iron Lady. And when I look back all through the years, that always stuck in my head. And I was like, wow, I want to be an Iron Lady. And I think you just finding that balance is the struggle every day. But I nurture my clients, I nurture my team, and I really enjoy doing that. And it's just finding that balance.
Wonderful. And I know your team loves you. You know, whenever I talk, especially to Mo, he's
Yes.
always so happy.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Michelle. Now, I probably would like to ask this next question of all three of you, because I think it's so critical and you all do your part on this. But I'm going to start with Cailey on this one. And what do you do? Tell me about your community engagement. How do you put yourself into the community and show that you care about it?
So community engagement, I think, is critical for any business, but I think it has to be genuine and authentic. If you're engaging in the community as a checklist item, it's not going to work. So I try and engage in a way that connects or resonates with my life. So whether I had a daughter who was very sick as a child, so whether it's sick kids, or I've been very involved with Ovarian Cancer Canada because of I lost my mom to ovarian cancer. So choosing things that you're passionate about, and where you can make some type of difference, whether it's awareness, whether it's financial, whether it's engagement. So we do the bigger, those are some of the bigger charities that I'm involved in, but then right down to the micro level of, local sports teams, or we recently sponsored a young student who needed some financial help to accomplish their academic goals. So just finding things where you can make a meaningful difference, I think, is really important. We're given a platform to engage with a lot of different people. So we need to use that platform in a positive way, not just to market real estate.
Beautiful, beautiful. Rochelle, I'm going to ask you the same question about community engagement.
I agree with Cailey. I think it has to be authentic. I think that's really important. That's something Rick, my brother, and I grew up with, was being connected to our community. It was important to our father and our mother, and it's something that's always been a big part of our lives. With COVID, it's been amazing to have the opportunity to engage on a smaller level in terms of meeting small business owners and connecting with the BIA to figure out ways to support smaller businesses around us. We've been so lucky in many ways in our industry that we were deemed an essential service. And although that's a little bit scary, I have a 96-year-old aunt who lives with us at home, and I have a new grandson. So, you don't want to be exposed, and we're taking all the precautions, but we've been able to work and we've had a wonderful year. I know all three of us, I think, have had a record year. So that's been a gift. That's been a platform we've been able to use to connect with our local small family-owned businesses similar to ourselves. And that really resonates with us, being a local family-owned business, to connect with other business owners and support them. And in terms of continuing to support the community, I think it is important to find something that you believe in, and connect with it. And not about building your real estate business. I think whenever you give, whenever you connect with the community, or you connect in a way that's passionate to you, you can give and give and give, and it will fill you up and fill you up. So you always have more to give.
So true. How wonderful. How wonderful. What does it mean to you, Michelle? Community engagement.
Community engagement to me means being an inspiration for a lot of minorities out there, showing that there is a way to the top, regardless of you know, your circumstances. Coming up from Trinidad, one thing that I learned, and starting from the bottom, from telemarketing to where I am today, I've always been pushing to be very visual in the community and letting people know that you can do more. I mean, when we door knock, we ask for, you know, to contribute to food drives. We're not just door knocking, we're asking to collect food as well, to donate to, we've always supported like women's shelters and things like that. A lot financially, not so much visually out in the community doing events, but we do a lot financially.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you. Everybody does such great work in their communities, and
Thank you.
nice that it comes from the heart, and that's so important, isn't it? So important.
Really, if I could just jump in for 1 second, just in case anyone joined a little bit later. If you do have any questions, I know a couple of hands have popped up. There is a Q&A button just at the bottom right-hand side of your screen. And if you want to add your questions there, we'll address those a little bit later near the end of the session.
Okay. All right, great. Yeah, I see a couple questions have come up, so that's going to be good. It's going to be great. Okay, so we are going to go. Okay, Rochelle, I'm going to go back to you for a second, because I think one of the things you mentioned in your profile is that you merged with your biggest competitor in your market. And I want to hear more about that. Why did you do it? And, how did it work out for you?
So I've known Melanie and Lindsay Wright for many years, and I have so much respect and admiration for them and the business that they have built. When the opportunity came up in 2016 to explore working together with them, of course, my first instinct was, how could we? They're our biggest competitor. I'm not sure this could work, but it's been amazing. And in the spirit of collaboration, to really collaborate and work together and bring your different perspectives and your different experiences to the table, not only elevates the experience for our clients, but it elevates the experience for all of us. I've learned more in the past few years working with Mel and Lindsay than I learned altogether, and I'm learning every day. And I think it really enhances everything that we do, from our staging to our marketing to the culture within our office. So it's scary, and it's you really have to put your ego outside the door, because although we still do compete, we compete very much, and we're in the same market, but we collaborate 100% on everything, and that really enhances the experience, I think, for everyone.
Beautiful, beautiful. I know it was like, it rocked the industry when it happened, and everyone, why? But it was absolutely, you explained, it's beautiful, beautiful. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about your, getting to the top. All three of you are up there. Can you give a tip to anyone that's thinking, that's in real estate? Maybe there's a bunch of real estate people here, and they're saying, geez, I really want to get there. What's your biggest tip to get there? And I'll start with Cailey on that one, because I think this is something that all of you can kind of participate on. Cailey.
I think the key to success in real estate, whether you're an individual agent or you're in a team, is always doing what's best for the client. First and foremost, never think about the money you're making, never think about your rankings, never think about anything that's self-serving. Just focus on what's best for the client, and you will naturally succeed. Yes, I now have a decent sized team, and I'm surrounded by people who motivate me and who I'm very keen to encourage, and I take they really inspire me to do better every day. But the fundamental is remembering what's best for the client, and you'll always end up in the right place.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Rochelle.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You have to do what's best for the client. I think for me personally, it's, I don't think I could succeed as an individual agent. I look at these amazing agents who just work on their own and they're able to do it all. That's certainly not me. I'm a fairly social person, so I need the team around me. I work really well in a collaborative environment. So I couldn't be where I am without a team, and being surrounded by incredible people. I've been very lucky to always have a great team, amazing clients I connect with, and I really enjoy being with. And then being able to collaborate with the groups like this. You know, we belong to an elite coaching group that really helps me. I think, you know, when people are starting out, I think being true to yourself, make sure you know what you want, have a plan, set your goals, take the steps to kind of get there. You know, having a big team and being number one in your marketplace isn't everyone's goal. So it's important to kind of be clear where you're going and why you want to be there. And if that's what you want, I think that's a great way to start.
That's terrific advice for anybody getting into the business, or even if they've been in the business for a little while. What about you, Michelle? What would you say to that?
So I'll say yes to all of the above, but I also want to add to that. And for me, one of my biggest successes was having a coach, having a plan, a business plan, and realizing that you can't go through life without a plan. And a lot of people get into the business and they don't treat it as a business. Like, you got to have capital, you got to have a budget, you've got to have, you know, expenses, your income and expenses. And so understanding that can really elevate your business, and having a coach to mentor you and keep you accountable every week has kept me on track to 10x my business. I'm coaching with Goodfellow Coaching, and I can tell you it's been 7 years, and when I started, my business was so small, and with their guidance and constant coaching and like accountability and pushing me, I've 10x my business. So I encourage anyone to just get a coach, have a business plan, and of course, clients first.
Beautiful, beautiful. Great advice from three amazing leaders.
Mhm.
Okay, now we're going to get vulnerable here, okay? I'm going to ask you about a mistake. What was one of the biggest mistakes you made in business, and how did you recover from that? Because everybody makes mistakes. I'm going to go right to you, Rochelle. Let's start with you with the mistake.
Well, that's easy. I make them all the time. I always say they're great opportunities to learn. So I think you can't beat yourself up. I try not to for that. My biggest mistake has not been putting the right people in the right place, in the right way or fast enough. So specifically in terms of a mistake, I think we just hired a CFO, and we've never had a CFO before. And I had a few calls with Cailey about that, and talked back and forth in terms of, you know, the budget and doing that. Every single time I put someone in the right place, it's so scary and it's so hard, but it's so worth it. So I think the biggest mistake is hanging on to jobs that so many other people can do so much better than I can do, and kind of letting that go and believing in that. It's hard to put someone in a place like that and pay the money and feel like you're doing the right thing. And, you know, so I think jump in the net will appear is probably true.
Great comment. I love that. Love that. Thank you very much, Rochelle. Okay, Cailey, tell me about your big mistake and how did you move past it?
So much like Rochelle, it involves people and management. I wouldn't say that I've moved past it yet, if I'm completely honest. I I love the people I'm surrounded with every day. I believe we have a good culture. My biggest weakness, and this is, I guess, the answer to the question, is I'm not always the best communicator at saying to someone, you've done a great job, you're doing a great job. I assume that they know that. And I think it's really important for me to continue to work on that and really take the time to recognize how hard people are working when they've done a great job. And it's a shift because it's not something that I need as a human, but I recognize that a lot of other people do. So I think that's my biggest mistake, is not figuring that out earlier in my history in real estate and managing people.
Okay, great. It's great insight into your own, your own management style. That's great.
I wish it wasn't my weakness, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
We all have them. Michelle, what would your big mistake be, and how did you come past it?
I would say hiring out of kindness and trying to fit people into roles that you think that they can fill when that's not the right person for the role. Like, I tend to be so resourceful, over resourceful, where I try to make everything work regardless of what's happening or whatever signs that I'm seeing. And, oh, I need a job. Okay, let me find a job for you. I'll create a title and I'll put you in that job. So I think that's been my biggest mistake in real estate. And now I've come to terms with just knowing my weaknesses and strengths and trying to find the right people to fill that, and be very clear on my description and what my expectations are. And to what Cailey's saying about being, because you hold yourself to such high standard, you think everybody else has the same high standard. And I had to come to terms with, what people it takes some time to get to the high standard, and that journey there, I need to be a little bit more patient with that. So I'd say those are the mistakes that I've made. But I'm much better now. I'm an amazing team leader now.
But there's a common theme here, if anybody is watching this and is looking to build a team, it's what a theme, here is people. It's having the right people with you, right? So good.
That's right. Yes.
Ayla, I see there's a number of questions there, and I think maybe we could intersperse some of them. Maybe we could start with something that I think there's about 11 questions. Maybe we could ask one of them now.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see. As women in power, how do you feel about imposter syndrome?
Rochelle, I'm going to hit you on that one first. Imposter syndrome in power.
So, yeah, I think it's real. So I just to be totally vulnerable here, I don't have a great education. As a matter of fact, I dropped out of high school. So you'll see on my bio, I won't have a degree. And, so I struggle with that. And in the beginning, I would be so embarrassed. I never would have shared that. And it's something that I think is very real for all of us. We all come from different places. We all have different backgrounds. I grew up in an incredibly privileged, amazing home where I was led to believe I could do absolutely anything. So I'm very fortunate to have grown up that way. But I think imposter syndrome is a real thing. I think, yeah, for sure. I remember one of the first times I ever sat on a panel and spoke, and I was terrified. And at that time, the owner of the company took me aside, and he, gave me this pep talk, and you can do this, and people do want to hear you speak. And, but it was because I didn't feel I was good enough, or I was valuable enough, or it was the imposter syndrome thing. So yeah, it's a conversation in your head, and we can make up huge stories in our head that just are not real. And that can really get in our way.
Great advice. Okay. Anybody else want to jump in on that one?
You guys.
Her answer was amazing.
I don't know. I don't know that that's unique to females. I think that perhaps it is. Perhaps it is. I think that it's like in life we do doubt ourselves, and I think that having that self-doubt usually creates an opportunity for growth. So yeah, I've never really it's never been a big theme in my life, but certainly there are moments where, I mean, Rochelle has seen me before I go and speak at conferences and whatnot. It is not my comfort zone to do so. So perhaps that does stem from imposter syndrome, but I think it's just a larger theme of, there are always moments in life where we're not going to have total confidence, and you just have to take those moments, figure out what the growth opportunity is, and move on.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that because for me, I feel like I borrow other top women's experiences and make it my own until I get to where I want to be. And that's been like Cailey. I met Cailey like 20 years ago and just watched her rise to the top. And Rochelle, when she would sit and talk to me about like staging and so seeing their truck, and it made me go out and immediately start renting a truck and then start branding my truck, and that started my real estate company. So I think you can borrow other people's, it's okay to have that until you get to where you want to be.
Isn't there a saying, fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
I love that you do that,
definitely
Michelle.
I'm saying that.
great question. Ayla, is there another one?
Here's another one. First of all, thank you so much for sharing all of your experiences. You are all incredible women in our industry. As someone who is just getting started, I would love to know how you overcame the fear of jumping into sales.
Good question. A lot
happy
of people try to get into real estate and they don't understand it's sales. They like houses. It's fun, but sales is a whole different ballgame. So Rochelle.
Oh, okay. I think so. Yeah, it's hard, and I still get super nervous sometimes going into a listing appointment, and I don't know if I kind of chase that energy because I do like selling. I took a few years having a real backseat to sales, and I love sales, but it's terrifying and the rejection's hard. And I think you just have to kind of find a strong mentor and go for it. I love what Michelle just said about borrowing other people's experience. I think that's a strategy that could work if you're scared going into sales. Borrow an experience from someone who's successful.
Beautiful advice. Beautiful. Cailey, how would you answer that question?
For me, the way that I've overcome it is I try and frame it not as sales, but rather that people are hiring me to give advice. That's what they're paying me for. So for me to give the best advice I can, I have to know the market inside out. I have to be able to look at them with honesty and conviction that the advice I'm giving them, I truly believe is in their best interest. So I think if you can take the mindset away from selling something and advising people in their decisions, I think it's a lot easier. And if the question is more around, financially, how do you move to a commission-based industry? I wasn't clear if that was part of the question. I think that success will come with honesty. So just stay focused on your clients.
Okay, great advice. Great advice. Michelle.
I think being a problem solver, I think when I sit in front of someone, I want to hear what their needs are and what their wants are and see how I can merge the two into a really good experience for them. And that's always been my outcome. I feel that you are, that advocate and that, professional that they're coming to get that advice and to solve their problems. And I always tell my team, let's solve a problem today, because when we solve a problem, we make clients happy and money comes along with it. That's the perk.
Great advice from all of you. Thank you. That was a great question. Great question. Ayla, is there another one?
We do have another one. As a single agent, how do I find a mentor that will share experiences and growth?
Rochelle.
Join a team. I don't know, I think, or go to a brokerage. Like a lot of brokerages have great, we don't, because we're just two teams, but a lot of bigger brokerages have great, great systems, great mentor programs, I think. I think finding a mentor is important, but yeah, I would do that. Yeah.
Good advice. Very good advice. What about you, Cailey? How would you find a mentor if you're starting in the business?
Much like Rochelle, I'm a team-based person. I'm someone who enjoys being with other people. So the answer for me would be to join a team. If I was working in the industry at one of the bigger brokerages and they had a mentorship program, I don't know that all of them do, but I think I would find the agent that I respect the most in the office and ask if you could do things for free for them. Can you help them with open houses? Can you help them with writing notes? Can you do anything in exchange for just being around them and absorbing the information that they have to share?
Great advice. Great advice. Michelle.
I'd say, like, I'm a team as well, but I'd say join a team, or because I feel as a new agent, you don't have the guidance and you have to get out of your own way and your ego, and realize that when you join a team, you're not losing your identity. It's a merger and an acquisition. You're a business person. The other person's better business person because they've been established. And you're just joining that team to sort of collaborate and understand and mentor. And then eventually, when you're ready to get to the next level, by all means, you can start your own team. But so many agents think that when you join a team, like, you won't see your name on the sign. People don't care about that. What they care about is that you get the job done and that you get it done right. And all the mistakes that you make when you're a one-woman show. I mean, when I started in real estate, and I remember approaching teams and they were like, "Oh, you're brand new, we don't want you." And it was just really hard. And I had to go around the office and ask, like what Cailey's saying, can I do open houses for you? Can I do this? And I started that way, and eventually it worked out. But it's not always going to work out like that for everyone. So don't be afraid to join a team. And when you interview a brokerage, what I did when I was joining Hallmark, I have to say, like, Deborah Bain recruited me. And one of the things she said to me is, your previous broker, they've taken you as far as you can go. We're going to take you the rest of the way. And that just every day, I just hear that in my head. And one of the things I did was I interviewed their staff at Hallmark, and the way that the front desk and everybody was speaking about the company in such high regard, I was like, oh my God, this is the brokerage that I want to join. So I think don't just interview the brokerage, interview the staff, and interview, get a company that can really lead you to where you need to go, and recommend teams for you to join.
Terrific. Great advice. All of you. Fantastic. Next one, Ayla.
So it's interesting. Have you ever been on an appointment with a male coworker and you find the person you're meeting doesn't treat you the same way?
Ooh, wow. Okay, Rochelle, we're going to jump over to you. Has that ever happened?
Oh yeah, so Rick and I do our listing appointments together often. And I think Michelle and Bobby used to as well, or tried it for a while. So for sure, I think that happens, but I think it happens the other way too. For sure, I find, sometimes people will look to Rick for the answers. They'll speak to Rick. They won't speak to me. They'll make eye contact with Rick. They won't make eye contact with me. But the reverse happens as well, where people, and I think you have to be aware and you have to notice. And sometimes we see what we're looking for. And if we're not looking for it, we don't see it. Lots of times people will not talk to Rick. I think I'm the nicer of the siblings, so I get that. But lots of times people will just kind of look to me and not look to Rick and ask me the questions. And so, I think for sure there is some of that, thinking that the male person is the one who has the answers or the knowledge, or is better with strategy or decision maker. And sometimes it's the female. And really, let's face it, I'm the better decision maker. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Rochelle. Cailey, what are your thoughts on that?
I have some great male team members who I go on presentations with. I agree with Rochelle. It can go, everyone's going to relate to different people in different ways, whether it's gender, whether it's, history, what high schools they went to. I just don't spend a lot of time thinking about it.
Yeah. Okay, good. Michelle.
I come across that a lot, especially with in Durham, with our very mixed cultures, and Canada is such a melting pot for different cultures. And I think they, when they're an immigrant and they come into the country, they think that, women are treated the way they are in their country. And so I love being an advocate for being very firm. I think it's made me grow in my confidence and delivery of the message that I'm sending, that no, you're not going to, speak to Bobby. I'm going to answer the question. And I honestly, a lot of times I kick him under the table saying, I got this one.
So good.
Good team. Okay, another one now.
This one's for Rochelle specifically. You partnered with your biggest competitor. Can you comment on how or whether you feel women do perhaps a different job than men when competing against others or negotiating on behalf of their clients? Do we operate differently, and is that a good thing?
I don't know if that's a gender thing. Yes, I did partner with our biggest competitors, and I would say Melanie and Rick are the strongest negotiators I know, equally. And we each bring something different to the table. We're incredibly different people, but when the chips are down, I'm gonna call Mel or Rick. I was on the phone with Lindsay last week trying to figure things out back end, and she's not as involved as she once was, but I think we all bring something different to the table, and I don't think that's a gender thing. I love that we are a mostly female-led team. I love that, but I think it's not a gender thing.
Okay, thank you very much, Rochelle. Ayla?
What's one piece of advice you wish you knew at the start of your career in real estate?
Okay, why don't we jump over to Cailey, and I'll give that question to you.
The importance of balance. I'm 22 years in now, and I still struggle with this one, but it's really important to succeed in real estate. I really believe that you have to have time to yourself outside of the business. That doesn't mean it's at the client's expense, but just schedule time for yourself into your calendar. Treat yourself as an appointment. So whether that means that you're exercising every day or going out for girlfriends once a week, whatever it is, make sure that you are an appointment within your own schedule.
Great advice. Great advice. Michelle, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, all my friends know that I'm a workaholic, so they all know. I surround myself with people who want better for me, and they always make sure that I'm invited to everything and I'm reminded. So they sort of give me that balance. I think my friends, my family, same thing. They're always, but they always know that I'm always working, so they will make time and set things up and make sure that I'm drawn into that. So I'm guilty of not having that work-life balance, working too much. So I'm working on that.
Okay, it's a challenge, but at least, once you recognize it, you can work on it. It's very important.
That's right, yeah.
Anything else to add, Rochelle?
No, I think that's been covered.
I thought so. Okay, good. Ayla, next question. We've got so many questions here that I just thought you should kind of throw them out.
Yeah,
they're really good.
Right.
Some good ones too. So as Shirley mentioned, all three of our speakers have teams. And so this one is, when and how do you suggest growing your team?
Good question. Rochelle, I'm going to throw this over to you.
I think you kind of know when you can't handle your business the way you want to handle it. And for us, clients come first. It's important that we treat our clients the way we would treat our mom. And that's our motto inside our team. And when we can't do that, we know that we're ready to grow. And that's kind of the indicator to us. Growing can be hard and super scary because you're risking your business as you share it and open the door and take your attention away from what you're doing to mentor someone or teach them or bring them into the culture. So I think you have to be sure when you grow that you're choosing the right people, putting them in the right place. And but I think that for me, that's the indicator when we can't treat our clients and service our clients the way that we need to treat them and service them.
Okay, great advice. Great advice. What would you say, Cailey?
I agree. Organic growth to service clients' needs. I mean, that's always been how we've grown. And yeah, I would say the other thing is when you're growing, you know, there are times where I'm not actively recruiting or looking for agents, but you'll come across someone that'll reach out who perhaps you're not in a mindset of growth, but you know that they're such a great asset or such a great person that you think they'll contribute to the culture and ultimate success of the team. That at that point, then I would always welcome them into the team, and we'll find a way to make it work and make sure that there's enough business for everyone, and that we motivate. And we always say we rise together and we fall together. So as long as we're rising together, I'm happy.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. Rochelle.
I'd say that's been a challenge for me the last couple of years, to be honest. So I've always had this small team mentality of quality versus quantity, and with collaboration with other team leaders, and looking at how they run their teams and systems, I've come to the realization that it's my duty to grow the team, and be that inspiration for people who want to learn the steps to get there. My ultimate exit would be, like, I'd love to start coaching. So just going through these growing pains is going to make me a much better coach, and how to show someone how to grow a team. But right now we're in growth mode, so we want to get to the next level, and I'm really embracing it, and I'm fearless about it now, whereas I had before. I didn't want to be like talking to 10, 12 agents. I'm like, oh my God, my whole day is going to be gone. But what I've realized is delegate certain, like a sales team leader, so that those teams members can go to that person and sort of break it down into different systems. And so a bit late I've discovered that, but yeah, I'm in growth mode. So anybody have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Well, that's a good comment too. Anybody I think, wants to reach out to any of these wonderful leaders, they're very welcome to, to speak to them. They'd be very happy to hear from you. I know that. Ayla, we're about 5 minutes, I think. Are there more questions?
This one's specific for Cailey. What do you do to stay ahead of your biggest competitors? Magic question.
It's a really good question. I was asked this question a few years ago by an agent at Gorilla Page. She was struggling because she was focused on her competitors. And I said, the second you focus on your competitors, your energy's being directed in the wrong place. So for me, I keep my eyes forward. I don't look left. I don't look right. My competitors can do what they want to do, but I'm going to focus on my strengths. And that's how we've succeeded. It's just noise. I just treat it as noise.
Great advice. Just great advice. Thank you. Ayla?
Okay, this is directed to everyone. What advice would you give your 15-year-old self?
Oh. Okay, Rochelle, this is for you. Start you.
Just, relax and enjoy it. Everything's going to be okay. Don't stress so much. I think looking backward, there's a lot of needless worrying and stress. This business is so fun and so great, and there are so many amazing people. It is such a gift to be in this industry and to be a part of this business. And I think, sit back and enjoy it a little bit, and truly don't sweat the small stuff or even the big stuff as much. It is a gift to be in this business.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else want to touch that one?
Yeah, I'd like to answer that. I think growing up in Trinidad, I remember the girls, like I'd be bullied, and because I grew up on a farm, and the girls would always sort of try to box you into what they think you look like, or based on what they look like. And so my 15-year-old self would be, don't let people, project their insecurities or persona on you. You will find your way, and don't be trapped into your mind or box yourself into, I can't do this, because I was the biggest introvert. And now when I enter a room, everybody knows. So you can change and you can evolve and be a better person, but don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. That would be my advice from as soon as you turn double digits. Just you will find your way, and it will your true self will come out, your authentic self.
Great advice. Great advice. Cailey, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that Rochelle and Michelle said it perfectly. Just, yeah, be yourself. Don't let the world change who you are, and have fun along the way.
That's it.
Beautiful. Great advice. Great advice. All right, Ayla.
Okay, I think we have time for about one more question.
Great.
Here. What do you do when other competitors start copying you and trying to mimic your process?
Good question. Rochelle.
You know what? I think nobody can copy you. We're all different people. Nobody can do anything the same that we do it. And that was one of the biggest lessons when we started working with Mel and Linz. Rick and I were walking away from meetings saying, oh my gosh, they're doing everything we're doing. How did they know we were doing that? You know, I remember talking to Michelle at one point and saying, this is so weird. Like they were doing the same stuff we're doing. I wonder if, you know, someone's sharing secrets, but really, you know what, we all do similar things. Yes, for sure. We have breakthrough ideas at different times and we start different processes in different ways, but there really isn't anything more flattering than someone copying you. It's great. And in the spirit of collaboration, why not reach out and help them? I know another one of our next biggest competitors wanted to start a staging company in our marketplace, and we took them to the warehouse and showed them how we do it and what we do. I mean, it's some people will choose to work with us and some people will choose to work with you, and that's okay. Let's share and make this industry better. Let's help each other out as much as we can, because really we're here to serve our clients.
Beautiful. Thank you, Rochelle. Anybody else want to touch on that one? Okay. Well, I'm gonna end this with, like, I have one final question just to see, you know, just to kind of wrap up. And I'm just wondering, like, what does the future hold for you? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? Like, what is coming up that's exciting or going to make a big change? Rochelle, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, so I want to keep growing. We want to keep growing our brokerage, our business, our teams. I think that COVID has taught us how to be more efficient, more effective, respect space a little bit differently. I think the lessons from COVID we will start to really learn in the coming years, probably the next 5 years. But I see myself continuing in this business. I love it. And continuing to grow our teams. We're also in growth mode right now, which is a fun, nice thing. And that's where I see myself.
Excellent. Thank you, Rochelle. Cailey, what's the future hold for you?
I'm hoping a beach soon. An ocean and perhaps a cocktail. No, in 5 years, yeah, I'll still be in the industry. I love the industry. I love my job. We're trying to add different verticals into the business to keep it interesting and, you know, as a growth strategy. But I'll definitely still be in real estate and hopefully doing a little bit more travel than I've done in the last 12 months.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. Michelle.
I'd say development for me. I'm enjoying growing my team, and I definitely want to, in the next 5 years, possibly 10x my team. That's a challenge that I'm going to have for myself, but I'm up for that. And then also doing land development and building. I think it's a natural progression. My husband loves, you know, he's very creative. He's very artistic. He loves that side of the business, and he doesn't like working client facing as much. So I think joining him in that is something that he can lead and I can follow, is something that I'm looking forward to in development.
Okay, great. Well, it sounds like you've all got great plans. You're all very successful today. And I want to thank you all for participating in this great panel. You've given some terrific advice to everyone out there. And it's truly been an honor to moderate this panel. And look at your screen there. If you want to contact any of these wonderful leaders, please feel free. They're happy to give you some advice and help you out in anything you need.
Shirley, can I interrupt for 1 second to thank
Sure.
Rochelle for putting us together? Rochelle, you're an amazing inspiration as a woman in business. So thank you for having us.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. And you guys, it was totally, I'm honored to sit with all of you, and Shirley and Ayla, you guys did a great job. So
Yeah.
thanks everyone, and happy
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
International Women's
Great.
Day
International
2021.
Women's
Yay.
Day.
Happy
What a nice
International
way to
Women's Day.
celebrate.
Yep,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.